All right, guys, today we're going to talk about shooting stance and the importance of being in a good position. There's a lot of different types of shooting stances that are, I feel like, kind of being used throughout the community. Some are old, some are new, but the importance of the stance is going to give you a better foundation, but the other one is the ability to move, specifically from, as we look at an athletic position, but from a biomechanical and how the muscles interact. It's really important as how we go from the lower half specifically is going to make a big difference in being able to move multiple different directions and be able to respond to a threat. So as far as the shooting stance, one of the first things we're going to talk on is how we're standing. We teach just generally with the feet. We say about shoulder width. And so if our feet are in line together, a very easy starting point is going to be just a half step. So the instep, over shoulder width apart. That's just a general, hey, this is a starting point. However, you kind of need to tailor it to what is going to be most comfortable for you specifically. So a lot of people normally may go a little bit wider if that feels comfortable, and maybe it's even a little bit more staggered. So I personally shoot, this is kind of my position. If I'm squared up to the camera or downrange to the target, I would be in this position. The reason this is important is it allows me to get a good stable platform. If we're looking at it from the side, to where if I need to from here, I can open up and move laterally in both directions. But from here, I can also move forwards, or if I needed to go backwards, I could drop as well. So that's really important. Some of the different stances that we're seeing out in the community right now, you know, for a long time we saw Weaver, you know, where we're a little bit wider, knees are out, isosceles, and then we've started this term fighter stance, right? I would say it's been a bastardized or watered down version to where there's a lot of different ways people are talking about that. We're starting to see one more consistently in our classes, that the front leg is super loaded. It's a very split stance with the back leg being kind of locked out. Okay, this is a great position for if you're shooting a really heavy caliber or something that's a full automatic that's going to drive you up. You're pretty locked in. The problem is that you're also pretty locked in, right? It's great for moving forwards, backwards, but when you start having to go lateral, you have to unlock and then change your feet, so you're already time behind, right? So when we look at an athletic position, we want to be in a position where we can, from this, have a firm foundation. We can still manage recoil on the gun, whether you're on pistol or your rifle, but at the same time, I can move in any direction. One of the things we see a lot that's a good technique or maybe a good tip is we'll see somebody get in a stance, and let's just use my initial to where I come over half step. So for me, if I was gonna, from here, bang, 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 then I had to take off running, I would drop. So that corrective stance is my body's way of saying like, hey man, I don't like where you were, get in a better position. And so this would be my starting stance, right? So what we don't wanna see is someone get here and then they're constantly moving their feet around. Now that's a them problem. It should be natural to this position. And again, some people, it gets more or less aggressive. It's okay, but we want it to be generally in this area. The other ones we see a lot in the shooting community, specifically I would say in law enforcement, is a real front-back stance. Because on the range, we work a lot on moving forwards and backwards, less going laterally. And so we want to make sure that we're in a position where we can move lateral. Research has shown in the special operations community, out of all the performance metrics, speed, power, agility, endurance, agility is the most commonly used. Agility is the ability to change directions quickly with power. And so it's not only front back agility, it's in any direction. You watch most or a lot of officer involved shootings and you see someone running, it's not always front back. There's somebody seeking cover. Even if you're looking at CQB for a SWAT team, there's constantly change of direction. Is this the end all be all stance? Are you always going to end up perfectly here? Absolutely not. Sometimes as you start running around, your feet may get switched up, and sometimes your dominant leg may be in front of your non-dominant leg. That's okay. We want our stance to be as close to perfect, right? When we train, so that when we subconsciously are doing different things, that we're as close to that as we can. The other thing we want to kind of talk on, and I talked on it briefly, but if you're looking from the side, we want to be loaded. So we have a slight bend in our knees, ankles, and hips. This allows the quads and the hamstrings to be somewhat engaged so that from here, I can boom, take off in a direction without having to be up tall, is what we commonly see in the shooting community. Is a shooter come in, they run in, and then they go boop. That's I don't want to say wrong, but it's a disadvantage for multiple reasons. One is from this position, right? You're shooting, your vision's going up and down. But secondly is when you do have to go make a very fast, quick movement, you're gonna have to drop back down again to then take off. So the stance is super important. Go out and play with that. The other thing on this is your pistol versus your rifle. It should not make a difference on your upper half, right? You may be pistol, a good presentation, my stance, to having my rifle, it's the same exact stance. My feet, my lower half is exactly the same. My upper body is the only thing, and it's just hand placement. Vision should still be in a good position to where I can still see everything, but my feet work has to be in a good position for a firm foundation to be able to move. Thanks.